All right, hello everyone. I'm Lonnie with Untitled Nerd Network, and I want to talk about Black Mirror Season 2, Episode 3, The Waldo Moment. This episode it was actually different. It had that Black Mirror feeling to it, but at the same time, it didn't really, I don't, this looked into, like, there was an episode of The Orville a while back that talked about, um, like social media and how it's basically like taken over society, things like that. This is very similar to that, but on a much darker level. They're basically, you have this comedian who's kind of washed up. He's seen better days, but he's the voice and plays like there's like this little 3D um how do you say it? There's like a 3D character named Waldo, and he's like this bear, this blue bear, and the guy controls him by like being inside a little studio, and he moves, and Waldo moves, the way he does, and he voices him and stuff. And so they're wanting to like run a pilot, for this character. He's normally on like a TV show, but they're like, hey, he's really popular. Let's do a TV show for him, his own TV show. And so somebody during a meeting pitches, hey, why don't we have him like run for public office? And it's just kind of a joke. Well, then they decide to like take Waldo out in like this production truck with like a big screen on the side of it, and start yelling at some of the basically people who are running for parliament. And granted, this is like the UK, England. So anyway, he does that and basically takes the political process, like, it's kind of like today. Like, I try not to get into politics and stuff on the channel, but you really can't get around it for this review. Basically, it's a commentary on modern day politics where people aren't taking it seriously. You can be like basically a cartoon character can run and it will get votes. That's seriously like how it is now. And so Waldo goes on campaign basically, and goes on talk shows and things like that. And the man behind him, the comedian, ends up developing a relationship with the woman who is running against the incumbent. And but her advisors quickly tell her, "Oh no, you don't need to have a relationship with this guy. It's toxic." Blah blah blah. So she breaks things off with him. He ends up attacking her through through like interviews and stuff, and kind of that whole thing just falls apart. Finally, spoilers for the end from here on. At the end, Waldo ends up beating her, but the main man that Waldo's been attacking ends up winning narrowly by just a couple thousand votes. And so, I mean, it's crazy because what ends up happening is the comedian ends up having like a crisis of conscience once he realizes that he wants to be with this woman and he doesn't care about the political process anymore. Well, the producer of the show owns the rights to the cartoon character, so he decides to voice him. And so at the very end of the episode, during the credits, you actually see where the comedian is now out of work. He's homeless and is asleep like underneath an overpass. And police come by. I guess he's in like a homeless community. They come by and are like hitting people and getting them up and moving them. And so he goes over, and you see that Waldo, this bear, this creation that he was once the voice of, is all over the place. And Waldo has continued on without him, and the character, as it was alluded to earlier in the episode that I didn't mention, there was somebody from an agency. They never really say which one, but a man shows up from an agency with the U.S. who's wanting to utilize Waldo in all kinds of different places to undermine the political process and to influence voting and things like that, and to basically use it as a political weapon. and because they know how people will do, how people will vote, and so they end up doing that, and it ends up the world becomes much worse off as a result, and the episode ends with him getting tased by a police officer after he throws a bottle at one of the big screens with Waldo on it. It's a very, very interesting episode. Again, like a lot of Black Mirror episodes, it has a kind of a slow burn, but once you get to the end and the big payoff, it's amazing. I absolutely love this episode. I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of 10. It was really good, and I suggest you check it out if you haven't already. I'm Lonnie with Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux and your local Satanist, both out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Thanks for watching my review of Black Mirror Season 2, Episode 3, The Waldo Moment.